Celibacy is an essential topic for self-realization. Anyone who claims you can attain spiritual consciousness while engaging unregulated and unlimited in sex is misguided. This is a topic many like to avoid because we are talking here about renouncing the greatest pleasure available in material life. I will in this video honestly expose myself and my attempts to follow the tapasya of celibacy and my realizations and success I have achieved. Celibacy is recommended by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita as well as in many other Vedic scriptures. The effects of following celibacy is immense bodily strength and vigor, a peaceful mind, sharp memory, and superior intelligence. Sex is a topic discussed in great length and details in the Puranas. The Srimad Bhagavatam deals with the very root of our material existence as being one addicted to sex desire and its results. Results mean children. Other Puranas that are concerning topics around the modes of passion and ignorance entail stories of how you meet the love of your life, and then she is cruelly taken away by the agents of material nature such as death, disease, or fortunate, unfortunate separation. Through the narrations of the Puranas and our personal experience, we can understand the consequences of engaging in sex life in this material world and the suffering it brings us despite the knowledge we have about spiritual life. In order to become spiritually strong, we must maintain rules and regulations that help us to maintain our body in a healthy state, fit to engage in devotional service with a peaceful and happy mind. Now you may ask, wait a minute, how is sex unhealthy and how does it not make me happy? Scientists have proven that abstinence of sex for too long has negative consequences, emotional and even physical. That is true, but only if you haven't learned to control the sex desire and utilize the energy for positive spiritual engagements. Sex is indeed natural for the material body, and therefore if we don't know the rules and regulations of observing celibacy, we are most likely to become crazy or hard-hardened. In order to maintain abstinence of sex for a long time, we have to observe rules of Brahmacary. That entails not just to not engage in sex with the opposite sex, but even not to think or look at them in a perverted way. This is why the Vedas say that we should accept every woman except our wife as mother. So in order to understand why celibacy is an important subject, we have to see the autonomy of the material body. According to Vedas, the body consists of skin, muscle, marrow, flesh, semen, blood, mucus, urine and stool. One may say a woman doesn't have semen, and that is true, but her body will produce a different substance that is needed for procreation. The point here is, and this is why celibacy is especially meant for men, because the semen of the man is lost during sexual union while the woman's body remains more or less undisturbed. The semen that is therefore lost must be reproduced by the body in order to function again, and that drains many precious resources from the body. The essence of the food we take is after a complicated process transformed into semen, and then wasting it by unnecessary sex will cause the body to drain resources that would otherwise nourish the brain, and through that nourishment attain high concentration, sharp memory, and the ability to control one's mind and senses. Therefore celibacy is first of all the need of the man, because unlike the body of a woman, the man's body will waste precious resources after intercourse, and that is simply lost for a little enjoyment. Now that is something we don't like to hear, because we like sex. Sex is meant to be enjoyable because it is meant for procreation. Celibacy is difficult. It is one of the best austerities one can perform because the benefits are enormous. I cannot speak for women, of course, but from my own experience, once you have tasted the happiness of celibacy, where you limit or even prevent the loss of semen, you will feel incredible, healthy, strong, and clear-minded. Abstaining merely 3 days of sex makes you a 4th-class Brahmacary. Even though this is nowhere near perfect, merely abstaining for 3 days makes you a Brahmacary of the 4th class. Why 3 days? The body requires at least 3 days to fully recharge the lost semen from the transformed food, and therefore forcing the body to have more sex than this will lead to unrepairable long-term damage in the body. Sex drains your energy because you literally shoot out your blood in the process. Therefore, giving the body a recovery phase from at least 3 days helps the body to stay healthy and powerful. The next stage of Brahmacharya is abstinence for 1 year. After 1 year, something changes in the body. You become transformed, and some even say effulgent. This stage of Brahmacharya I have no personal experience from. I must honestly admit that since I am trying to practice celibacy, I have maintained a maximum of 2 months, not wasting my semen, as certain dreams make it difficult to prevent it. Therefore I cannot speak about experience here, but the results must be amazing. The third stage of Brahmacharya is abstinence from one's Brahmacharya life, which in Vedic standards means from the age of 5 until he gets married around 25, and one enters Grihastha ashram or married life. This stage of Brahmacharya is sex life according to religious principles, that means sex for procreation of good children. We can see the example of Bhakti-Yoga and Srila Prabhupada in our Guru Parampara that observed this stage of Brahmacharya. The last stage of Brahmacharya is the so-called Naishtika Brahmacharya, and that is one who has never wasted semen in his entire life. Such a great brahmachari was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura, who left behind the legacy of devotional service carried to the West through his disciple A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The intellect and memory of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was legendary, as he possessed the ability to remember everything he has seen or heard, and was the compiler of many transcendental literatures and the leader of the Gaudiya Math institution of preaching and practicing Krishna consciousness. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wrote books like Brahma Samhita, which are written in such a complex English that even great scholars have difficulties understanding it. So going back to our position, or at least mine, celibacy is very important in spiritual life, and non-observing of that, especially for a man, has serious consequences to our spiritual life. Lust is a powerful enemy and can overwhelm even great yogis who remained abstinent for thousands of years before becoming conquered by the beauty of a woman. So unless one has some spiritual motivation, he cannot remain a celibate, and to be successful one must have very good association and a peaceful mind. Yoga asanas, which are practiced daily, like the Surya Namaskar and a regulated and healthy diet, can help us to maintain a happy life, aspiring celibacy and the benefits that come with it. But actual freedom from material sex desire is only possible by acquiring a higher taste. Sometimes we feel guilty when we are not successful. However, this guilt should not be taken too seriously. Instead, we should endeavor to correct ourselves, not just on a intellectual platform, but to actually deeply understand what is the problem. Because according to Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, we aim for loving relationships. This is the very nature of our being. And because of our material body and material intelligence, we associate the fulfillment of lusty desires with love. As long as we have this conception that sex means love, it is very difficult to renounce. But if we have factual experience of the bad effects of lust and we don't desire to have this, then we can aspire to practice strict celibacy. A man who is not convinced about the benefits of at least regulating sex life to once or twice a week is simply not following celibacy. Even if you want a nice sex life as a man, you have to limit the waste of semen. The Vedas speak about having sex while maintaining the semen in your body, which is known as Kama Sutra. So even if you want to enjoy worldly pleasures, you will lose the life and strength of your body by not observing the rule of maintaining the semen in your body. I hope I could bring you a bit closer to this very delicate subject matter. And you can see I exposed my own weakness in the video, admitting that it is difficult. But since I know and feel personally the benefits, I don't want to waste this opportunity to try to inspire you to do something unusual and not seek pleasure of the body, but to feel the benefits and happiness of celibacy by yourself. Please don't be afraid of this subject and don't be ashamed to admit failures. Better be honest and carry on. In one of the communities I have lived previously, we had a group called Sexual Anonymous where we could discuss our struggles and fears with like-minded and honest people, and this type of association is very helpful to open up and see that we are not alone to fight against our lust.